Welcome boys and girls from YouTube. My name is Sloth. This is the SlothForge, and in today's video we will face the pillar of trial. Today, the pillar of Wildfire. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm going to show you once again like one of the most free-to-play friendly teams that you can use for this pillar. And now today's team is once again super free-to-play friendly. We are not using a single legendary champion. We are only using 5 legendary heroes. So stay tuned. I'm sure that this will help most players out there if you have any struggle for this boss. But before we get into the team, let's talk about the boss real quick. Now, he is not as complicated as the other 2 pillars in my personal opinion, because he does one thing, but now this one thing, he does it good. He applies poisons. He applies many of those poisons. Now, within one rotation, he has 2 skills that apply poisons, and they all apply 5 stacks of poisons, so they stack up very quick. Also, he has the ability to passively inflict those poisons as well. So, if you are not careful, those poisons will kill you very quick, especially because he has also this poison explosion skill. So, the more poisons there are on your heroes, the more damage he will deal to you. So, in theory, there are 2 strategies for this boss. The first strategy is just to burst him down as quick as possible. But since this is a free-to-play comp, free-to-play team, we won't be able to burst him down within a couple of seconds. So we use the other strategy. Now let me show you the second strategy. The second strategy, it is built around. Now this is just something I've been trying. Where is the team? Here it is. The second strategy is built around Vicuc. He is just the perfect hero when it comes to this boss because of this ultimate skill. He can dispel not 1 but 2 debuffs from each ally of the whole team and also heal those allies. Now when it comes to those poison debuffs, there is one important thing to note. It does not matter if there are 5 stacks, 10 stacks, or maybe even 20 or 30 stacks of poison on your hero, it still counts as 1 debuff. So no matter how many stacks, it always counts as 1 debuff. So dispelling 1 debuff, or in this scenario 2 debuffs, is more than enough to remove all of those annoying poison. And this is all what his strategy is about. Vicuc and his ultimate. Now, you can also build your Vicuc with good defensive stats, of course, and also with some accuracy if you can manage to build him with accuracy. So he can apply attack penalty as well, which just helps a lot when it comes to surviving. But the boss is not dealing so much damage. Most of his damage actually comes from the poison debuffs. So you can, in theory, build Vicuc without accuracy, but if you can somehow manage to acquire some accuracy on him, you should definitely do so. Apart from that, I've been building him with very high skill haste. I'm using 2 sets that each provide skill haste and also the hourglass, but you do absolutely not need the hourglass. Now you could also absolutely use the spiritual incense burner. This is absolutely fine as well. And even if you have neither of those items, of those artifacts, you can just use something that provides a bit of tankiness. But I would suggest you to go with one of those 2 artifacts because it just helps him to use his ultimate more frequently. And that's it. This is Vicuc, and he is the core. He is the bread and butter of this team. Now, if you do not have Vicuc, it's absolutely fine. After I explained the team to you, I will show you some alternatives for Vicuc as well. But first, let me explain the rest of the team real quick. Here we are using Adolphus. Adolphus, everyone has him. He is 100% free to play. I think after 9 or 10 days of playing, everyone gets Adolphus for free. So he's just perfect for this team because he is 100% free to play, and also he is a very, very strong hero. He is not only applying some very big shields with his ultimate, but also he can heal your team as well. So he's just perfect fine to keep your team alive. Now, as I said, the boss is not dealing so much damage, but actually the waves in stage 12 are not that easy. So I prefer to use a secondary healer or shielder for this team just to help your team to stay alive. You can absolutely use another hero here as well. If you have access to some better legendary options than Adolphus, you can go with them. Ogok maybe will be fine. But generally speaking, Adolphus is just perfectly fine for this, and just go with him if you have him. Now let's talk about the tank. I'm using Frobot, but once again, he is not mandatory at all. You can use any tank that you have in the Wildfire faction, and you will probably be absolutely fine. So all of those legendary options are probably better, or at least as good as Frobot. For example, Ergander or Garika are just perfectly fine. You can also use Horus. He is like the 100% free-to-play option. Once again, he can also, just like Frobot, apply those attack penalty debuffs, which is very, very helpful just to help your team to stay alive. Apart from that, he is very tanky, just as Frobot, so you can use both of them, as absolutely both is possible. If you use Frobot, or it doesn't matter if it is Frobot or Horus or whoever, but I am using the Witch Remains on my tank. I know it is not the best case scenario, because Horus as well, just like Frobot, they have single hit ultimates, but it is still better than no Witch Remains at all. And on my DPS units, I prefer just to go with them for full DPS instead of building them with accuracy. So this is why I am using the Witch Remains on Frobot, but you can absolutely, in theory, use it on someone else. You could even use it on Adolphus. But yeah, this is how I am using it right now, and it works absolutely fine. Now, let's talk about the DPS units. And once again, those units are absolutely flexible. You do not need to use them, but it works absolutely fine with them. So if you have better options, you can absolutely go with them. But if not, then you can just use those two epics and you will be absolutely fine. First, Tonnelan once again. And he is also a 100% free-to-play unit. You can buy him very easy in the exchange shop. I think it is a journey shop. So everyone has access to Tonnelan, and everyone should probably go for Tonnelan because he is so strong. He has this built-in crit rate and crit damage, so he is just overall a bit easier to build. And apart from that, just build him with high attack and enough crit rate, so 80% crit rate is enough on Tonnelan, and then just as much crit damage as possible. Now those are the sets that I am using, but you can use any other DPS set as well, and it will work perfectly fine. And as you can see, let's talk about the talents real quick. I am using the top row for some additional damage, but I used this team also when Tonnelan had only 2 talents, and it worked absolutely fine. Also, the rest of the team, for the DPS units, the top row is the best in my opinion, but all of those are actually only at talent level number 2, and it is enough. For Adolphus, I have him at 6 because I'm using him at my Vortex team as well, but it is absolutely not needed. You can just run on level 2 or 4 as well, and it will be fine. Same with Frobot. Just to show you that once again, there is much room for improvement. In case you have some struggle with the stage, you could probably just talent your heroes up a little bit, and it will help with the stages a lot. And apart from that, yeah, the second DPS, let me show him real quick as Caraman in this scenario, but you can use any other DPS unit that you have access to as well. Probably an AoE DPS unit would be preferred over a single target like Caraman is, but he is absolutely fine. Just use what you have. To show you some legendary options, you could use Durango. He's not perfect, but he is probably better than Caraman. You could use Yorn. Of course, Casper would make amazing work for this team. Twitch as well. He's also just insane. He's so strong. Very underrated by many people right now. So those are some options. Maybe even Felicity, but I did not compare Felicity to Caraman, so I don't know who is actually dealing better single target DPS. Also, Vicana, also a hero that many people sleep on right now. She is very good, so you could think about giving her a try as well. But I think that's it. As you can see, we are not using any skill timings. In theory, we could time the ultimate of Vicuc, but it is actually not needed. I just want him to time his ultimate as often as possible so that he just cleanses those debuffs whenever they get applied or inflicted. Now, one last thing I wanted to talk about real quick is the alternatives for Vicuc. Now, there are some alternatives. One alternative is Ekkas. She's also perfectly fine. On her ultimate, she can dispel one debuff, but as I said, it doesn't matter how many stacks of poisons your heroes have, it is only counted as one debuff, so this ultimate works absolutely fine as well, and it is full AoE. It is not only in the area around Ekkas, it is the whole area, the whole battle, so she cleanses one debuff from every single hero of your team. So Ekkas is a perfectly alternative for your Vicuc. But you can use some other different strategies as well. For example, Hexandra. First, she can also dispel a debuff, but it is single target dispel, so it is not the most reliable dispel ability out there. But there is another very niche strategy, but it is a good strategy, actually. You could use the Gatekeeper's Staff, because she is healing for a very good amount, and then her overheal gets converted into shields, and now you can pair the Gatekeeper Staff with the Skycode treaty set. Now, if you use Adolphus, and you should use Adolphus, you can use the Skycode treaty set on him as well. He's also placing shields, and he's also dispelling some debuffs, and then all of a sudden you have many single target dispel debuffs, which will help a lot and should actually work fine as well. So just as an example of a super free-to-play friendly alternative to Vicuc or Ekkas. But probably if you are playing for a couple of weeks now and you rolled some dice, you will have either Vicuc or Ekkas. Now let's get this started. Let me show you the run real quick. Actually, I think that I will place a small cut here and we jump to the boss, because those waves take a little bit of time, because we are using Tunnelman and Caraman, so two single target DPS units. This is why here we make a small cut. Alright, here we are, now at the boss. And as you can see, there is one last thing I did not mention, but you should try to place your DPS units on either the top or the bottom of your formation, just to make sure that they focus the same ad. So once the first ad is down, they can start to focus the boss. But that's it pretty much. I think that I've mentioned every important note that I wanted to show you. So I think that we will here make another cut, because this takes a lot of time actually. They have like maybe 20 or 30 seconds left when the battle is finished. Maybe even less. So yeah, you don't have to watch the whole battle. So let me cut this real quick and see you soon. And here we are. So once again, like the final burst sometimes is so big. So yeah, that's it. This is the battle. As you see, oh, we had only like 12 seconds left. So it was a very close fight, but we can use some buff food, as since we have no big problems to survive, you can just use buff food that provides you more damage, like 10 or maybe 15% additional attack, and this will help a lot. And well, that's it pretty much. I think I've mentioned everything. If I did forget to mention anything, please let me know in the comments below. And well, that's it for today's video. If you find this content useful, please consider to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any further content. But that's it for today's video. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and see you in the next one.